today's video, I am going to reveal the top salaries of some of the top employers in Singapore. Hi everyone, welcome to Insider Gyaan. My name is Soumi. I'm an IIT Delhi and ISB Hyderabad grad. On this channel, I share a lot about my career experiences, a lot of educational content, MBA related content as well. Any of those things interest you, please consider subscribing to the channel. Plus, I also have been working in Singapore for the last 3 years now. And whenever I make videos on life in Singapore or, how to get a job over here, one of the most common questions that pop up, what are the salaries exactly, right? Like how much do companies pay over here? How much money is sufficient to live a good lifestyle and those kind of things. And I get it. Everyone is interested to know what the salaries of different countries are. So that's what this video is going to be dedicated to. Now, I just did some research on who are the top employers in Singapore, and I've shortlisted 10 companies. I've tried to keep them within, obviously there are a lot of tech companies, tech startups, and the FAANG companies as well, or the MAANG companies now. Also some finance, retail companies, etc. And one caveat is that every company obviously has different types of roles, but my aim through this video is going to be to give you an idea of who are the better salary pairs, and also give you a flavor of what the ops salaries are, marketing salaries, MBA salaries, which is more in the strategy space, software development, etc. So let's get started. I have all my notes in my laptop in front of me, so I'm just going to read through them. Now, the first company we are going to cover is Grab. Grab is like an Uber or Ola equivalent in Singapore, in Southeast Asia actually, and it's quite a big employer. If we look at their software developer salaries, this is almost at the entry level for people with less than 3 years of work ex. It's 85,000 Singapore dollars annually, which is almost about 3 to 4 lakhs per month. And there's an additional 10 to 12,000 annual component of cash bonus as well. Not bad, quite competitive, I would say. The other example I have from Grab is of a tech program manager. Now, obviously, all these internet-based companies have a lot of software developer roles, also have tech program manager roles, which is more like program management, project management kind of thing. It's slightly senior and a managerial level kind of a job in the tech field. I think the average experience should be about 3 to 5 years. And the typical salary mentioned is 124,000 for someone with tech experience, of course, of which about 100 to 110k Sing dollars should be in cash, and then that means about 5+ lakhs per month in INR. One thing I did forget to mention earlier was that how I have come up with these numbers. Wherever I've had friends, I've tried to sense check the numbers with them in some of these companies as well. But wherever not, I have relied quite a bit. I've done some extensive research on Glassdoor. Moving on to company number 2 that I have on the list, which is Shopee. Shopee is Amazon equivalent in Southeast Asia. It's one of the biggest e-commerce companies over here. So for software engineering, Shopee I think is slightly lower in terms of how much they pay compared to, say, Grab. Software engineering, they pay about 80,000 Sing dollars plus about a 12,000 bonus. And most of these internet companies would have some stock component, okay, which I'm not mentioning over here right now. So this technically means about 3.5 lakhs INR per month plus bonus. I also happen to find the intern salaries. So interns at Shopee get paid about 1 to 2,000 a month Sing dollars, which is 50k to 1 lakh a month, and which I think is quite decent for someone who is studying over here. Then moving on to business development associate. So this is basically a role in, say for instance, somewhere in the strategy to business development side. And for this kind of role, this is going to be an entry-level role from the top universities. Like if you have done your graduation from NTU or NUS, which are some of the top universities in Singapore, you will likely get into this role. And the salary is about 50k Sing dollars, which is like 2.5 lakhs INR per month. And then there's going to be an additional bonus of 1 to 2 months, which is quite typical. I think not bad for an entry level. And mind you, this is not MBA entry level, okay? This is graduate entry level, so quite good that way. In the business development segment itself, if we move to a manager, so basically it's going to be associate, then senior associate, and then a manager. Then actually an assistant manager, and then a manager, so 4 levels above. So that's about 12 to 18,000 a month. You will see the range is big because it really depends on where the people are coming from, number of years of experience they're coming with, etc. So this is about 12 to 18,000 a month in cash plus bonus. So that stands to about 7 to 10 lakhs INR a month. Then if we move to a product manager role, a product manager would typically have a 3 to 5 years of experience. They would typically get 100k a year, which is about 4.6 lakhs INR, plus there's obviously going to be some bonus. Moving on to a Shopee kind of a company called Lazada. It's also an e-commerce company, slightly smaller than Shopee, but even then it's quite big. Now for this company, when I was doing some research, I found the level by level salaries as well, and I think this is going to give you a good idea of the progression, like how much your salary increases from one level to another. So over here, associate, which is again an entry level at undergrad, this is going to be about 60,000 Sing dollars. Senior associate gets a 78,000 Sing dollars annual, which is like a 30% hike from associate. Managers would get about 110,000 Sing dollars annual, which is a 40% hike from senior associate level. Along similar lines, senior manager would get about 135,000 Sing dollars annual, which is 23% up from the previous level. And then there are vice president, director kind of roles. That's quite high as 175,000, which is a 30% hike from the previous level. All of this is exclusive of cash bonus and stock bonus as well. Okay, those are the tech startups that I covered. Now moving to 2 retail banks, starting with DBS. DBS is the biggest bank in Singapore. Interestingly, the salaries are not very different from the tech startups, which is something that came out in my research I was not really very sure of. Now, banking mein what happens, like the levels like AVP, VP, they are not as senior. Like it sounds like a VP would be a really big person, but it's probably a mid to slightly higher than mid managerial level as well. For example, an AVP is going to be a typical hire, like a fresh graduate hire from post-grad. So if someone has 5 years of work ex and has gone to do a MBA from say NUS, they would get hired as an AVP in DBS or Citi Bank. So the starting salary here is 10,000 Sing dollars a month, which is about 5 to 6 lakhs INR. So that's for an AVP. A VP would probably get a 15,000 a month, which is 8 to 9 lakhs per annum INR monthly. Senior vice president would get about a $19,000 a month, which is 10 to 11 lakhs per month INR. And then there are of course other roles like a relationship manager, which is quite important role in a retail bank. So a relationship manager salary at DBS is 60,000 annual or 5,000 a month, which is like 2 to 3 lakhs in INR. And typically a relationship manager would have 1 to 3 years of work after graduation. That's typical. Also, if you look at an associate level salary at DBS, which means again just freshly graduated but from undergrad, this is going to be about 55,000 annual. So hope this gives you some idea about the finance field. Now the 5th company that I have is also a retail bank, Citi Bank. Citi Bank and DBS sort of similar salaries, I would say, and these two are probably the most competitive in terms of retail banks in Singapore. There are others like UOB or OCBC. My sense is that their salaries are going to be slightly less competitive compared to these. So for Citi Bank, AVP level is about 9 to 10,000 Sing dollars a month. VP would be getting about 14 to 15,000 Sing dollars a month. SVP, so senior VP, would get about 18 to 19,000 a month. And RMs, for example, relationship managers, would get about 6 to 7,000 a month. So relationship managers are those who sort of kind of are doing a little bit of sales, or they're maintaining the relationship with the bigger clients. It could be like retail clients or institutional clients, whatever. So their salaries are slightly lower, and you don't necessarily need an MBA for the RM level, unless of course you are dealing with like really big institutional investors. The last salary I have from Citi Bank is of a product manager, which is 100,000 a year, about 8 to 9,000 a month. All the dollar values are in Singapore dollars, and just for reference, Singapore dollars to INR is a conversion rate of about 55 in today's day and age. Then I'm going to move on to Unilever. I was trying to think which could be one of the good companies to cover in the retail sector. So there's P&G, there's Unilever. I thought I'll take Unilever, and I found out that Unilever pays you quite well. And of course, since it's a consumer products company, roles like operations roles and marketing roles will suddenly become a lot more important in these kind of companies, and this is where they'll be paying you a little bit more compared to, you know, a software developer, because tech is not really the backbone of Unilever anyway. So in the marketing domain, within Unilever, if we look at a brand manager role, which is typically about 3 to 5 years of experience, the salary is going to be about 100,000 Sing dollars a year, which is about 8.5 thousand a month, so like 4 to 5 lakhs INR a month. Intern salaries were actually surprisingly quite good at Unilever. It was north of 2,000 plus a month, so that's like 25 to 30,000 annual. That's quite good for an internship, and definitely much better than the banks and the tech startups that we just talked about. Then moving on to some of the ops based roles. So for example, if you look at a supply chain manager, their salary is going to be about 100,000 annual. In the ops roles, there are lesser bonus components, so mostly it's the cash component that you're getting. The other role I found within Unilever was procurement manager. Again, this is ops based, so this is about 130,000 Sing dollars a year, which is 11,000 a month, so like 6 lakhs INR a month. Similarly, if you look at project manager, now what does a project manager mean in a company like Unilever? This could be any like strategic kind of projects that you are dealing with. It's not as important as marketing and ops, say for instance over here. So reflects in the salaries. The salaries over here are about 10,000 a month, and you know, people in this role would definitely be MBAs, but with lesser years of work ex, so like 1 to 2 years of work ex only. Other than that, within Unilever, there could be like account managers or category managers. Category managers are basically those who are managing a specific category. For example, within Unilever, there's a diaper category, and there would be a category manager for diaper category who would be, responsible for selling as much as possible within that category, to identify the customers within that category, so on and so forth. So typical salaries over here, 70 to 90,000 a year. Actually, this role may or may not be an MBA. An MBA helps, but for the bigger categories or like a super category manager kind of a role. But generally for account managers or category managers, slightly different also. Like category managers are actually managing the whole category, but account managers are maintaining the relationship, which is more like a relationship manager in a bank. The last one I have from Unilever is of a sales analyst. Again, sales is something that a product company definitely needs to do, right? So this is an entry-level graduate kind of a role. A sales analyst is going to be an entry-level graduate kind of a role. Their salary is quoted to be about 45,000 last door, annual 45,000 Sing dollars. And for a sales manager who would have like 3-4 years of experience in the sales field, it would increase to about 60 to 70,000 Sing dollars annual.